Hello, I have just finished decorating this beautiful masterpiece, and I wanted to, well, there's a background to this cake. Every cake has a story. So when we got the brief of this cake, it was like a rush type order, and we had to take the order. It's one of those orders we couldn't say no to. And anyway, one of the reasons why we didn't want to do it as a rush order is because it's a rich fruit cake. But we had no time and I had to improvise. Anyway, when we delivered the cake on Saturday, I received a phone call that the celebration or what they needed the cake for had been moved to next week, which is now this week. And I just thought, hey, why don't I just take this cake back and do it properly? So what happens with fruit cake is after you bake it and you know put your alcohol in it and glaze it, you have to wait for a couple more days and then glaze it again with alcohol before we then have to keep it for a very long time. But the owner of this cake is so special. She's turning 80 and she used to be a cake maker, and I really wanted to impress her, you know, so I just said, oh yes, I will take on the order. So I had to, you know, quickly improvise. So we brought the cake back into the bakery. I thought I could just poke some holes into the fondant and, you know, put the alcohol, but I just thought, well, why don't I just completely rip off this cake and build it from scratch? What we did on Monday was we removed everything from the cake design, and then we got the cakes, the fruit cakes, and we're able to glaze them, wrap them up, all right? And this time around, just this morning, we literally covered this cake, and thankfully all the elements were preserved. The flowers, the swags, the dragées, everything was preserved. So what would normally have taken us like 2 days to complete ended up taking a few hours. And what happens when I redo a cake design is that it looks better than the first design, you know, and I completely love how this looks. It's like I know what to expect, so I was just placing everything in the right places. I love it, and I know the customer is going to completely fall in love with this cake. All right, so let me just tell you what we have on this cake. This cake is a rich fruit cake. It's 3 layers, and scrapple. We have a special technique that we use to cover our fondant cake. So we first of all do the scrapple. The scrapple gives it a very pristine edge, and then we go on to panel, but our paneling is done in another way so that you can't really see the seams. And once we have that blank canvas, every other thing is simpler. So I have my swags here. I have these beautiful patterns that we use to make the applied designs. And then of course there's just something so beautiful and romantic about dragées. So I don't have these dragées in gold, so they were all white pearls, and I painted some of them gold just to give an overall, you know, cohesive design. Not too busy, not too simple. And then I want to call your attention to this. You know, if you come closer, we can see we have some petals right here, okay, and you can notice they're shimmery. So when we were given the brief, I was asked to, you know, replicate the cake in what the celebrant will be wearing. She'll be wearing 3 outfits, and I just said to the customer, you know what, I can't replicate all these colors on one cake. Why don't I do like a neutral color that would suit everything she's wearing, and find a way to put in the various elements or colors of what she'll be wearing. And that is what these petals, this particular mini petals, are here for. So overall, the colors we have here is like ivory, gold, we have some yellow flowers. Well, not botanically correct, okay, we call them fashion flowers when they're not, you know, perfect, but they work. And of course this beautiful green, moss green leaves, okay, and of course, what's a cake design without a name or the message? So we have happy birthday grandma, we love you. So the very last element that will be going onto this cake is the number 80. All right, so I'm just going to turn this and place this onto the cake. We want to make sure everything was the way it was when we gave it to them the last time. So these were made by hand. We cut them up. We did like a template, and then we cut them up and painted it in gold. And then of course, once it's properly dry, and then we can now place it onto the cake like so. My edge is a bit slanty, so let me just position that properly. Oh, perfect. Then you can see that we have the wooden barbecue stick showing. I really don't like things like that showing on the design, so I will always think, what can I use around the bakery that can cover those mistakes? So I have petals, little petals I can just put right here once I get this to come out. Okay, give that a press. Like so. And I think that does a beautiful job in covering. And I have another tiny petal I can just use beside the 8 rather. So put some more of this. Right. There you go. Okay. Perfect. And that's it. Absolutely gorgeous cake. I love it. If I love it this much, I wonder what the customer will feel like. So this is what we're best known for at Dainty Affairs. Custom designs, one of a kind, made specially for you. Alright? Thank you for listening to me, and take care. Bye.